Who's that?
Right, actually.
Does your bathroom have that not so fresh smell? Is it embarrassing for your employees and your patrons to use? Try Orkin Auto Fresh for all your bathroom needs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first of a monthly commercial division sales training for the Northeast Division, who, as you can see, is sponsored by AutoFresh. So today, what I'd like to do is I have a special guest with me, and that is Adam Smith. Say hello, Adam.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad we got that advertisement out of the way. That was good. Well done.
So what we're going to do today, we are going to discuss how to build a successful day. So Adam, you were an account manager for, tell a little bit about yourself.
I started in 2003 as an account manager at a little territory in Baltimore, Howard County, Maryland, and I just stuck to the program that was shared with me. You know, it was all activity based. We really focused on getting in front of a lot of people and positioning yourself to move the needle at all times to come closer to a sale. It was clear that a sale doesn't happen the first time, every time, especially in commercial. But what was even clearer was that you need to have productive moments every day, every moment of your day.
Okay. So before we get into how to build a successful day, I have a couple ground rules. The first one is on your phone or iPad, however you're watching this, you have the ability to chat. So you can, if you want to ask a question, make a comment, whatever you want to do, feel free to text. And so some of them we'll read, and especially the questions we'll try to answer. The second thing is we're going to go through a lot. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of nuggets. There's a lot of takeaways with this. So we're going to be doing this for about the next half hour, 35 minutes, somewhere around there. And please jot down some notes, because what I'm going to challenge the branch managers to do after is, as a group, sit around and discuss some of the things that you've picked up on and what you're going to implement in your day. So with that being said, let's get ready to roll. So Adam, when you were an account manager, you were President's Club account manager, obviously very successful because you got promoted to be a region sales manager. What did a successful day look like to you?
Again, it all goes back to activity, right? And one of the fundamental activities that we implement today in our region and I implemented was telemarketing. We always kept time to telemarket. We always kept time to promote appointments. And the ideal number was somewhere around 50 contacts per day. You want to pick up the phone as many times as it takes for you to actually speak to 50 people per day. That's a lot. It takes a lot of organization to do, and it takes a lot of focus and determination to get through that. Additionally, you know, you got to hit the field. You got to have your feet on the street. You've got to put out proposals. So you're looking at least 2 proposals per day, 10 per week. You want to make 10 cold calls, and again, you know, 50 telemarketing calls, 10 cold calls, 2 proposals. That's a really full day. If you can tackle that, you're going to get to where you need to be.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that's great about my job is I'm able to do a lot of traveling. I go to a bunch of branches and I get to see a lot of salespeople and see that, you know, I try to take what I see from the successful ones and try to share, you know, kind of share that. Mm-hmm. We're really good at Orkin of giving people expectations as far as minimum expectations. So we have like the 2-2-10, you know, I got the bracelet and all that kind of stuff that we talk about, which is very effective for some people. But the whole key to being successful as a salesperson is that you got to make sure that you know your numbers. You need to know every day what you need to hit. So on the 10th of the month, when you're getting that commission check, that you're happy with your family and making sure that you know, you're bringing home, you know, the bacon, not Joe Bacon, but bacon, to make sure that you know, you're happy. And so I encourage you that when your branch or your region has the numbers, make sure those are minimums. And again, make sure that for your successful day, what does a successful day look like for you? So what I want to do now is we have a few people that are very successful that are going to share what a successful day looks like for them.
Go.
So, what does a successful day look like for me? A successful day would consist of having 5 appointments. Those 5 appointments being a combination of new prospects and current customers. In addition to that, I want to have about 2 flex appointments, and those flex appointments could be 60-day follow-ups. They could be following up on proposals that I've presented in the past, and stop-bys. In addition to that, I want to do 10 cold calls per day, and those are on-site visits where I go in and find out who the decision makers are and collect some business cards. With those, I'll take 2 days out of the week, and I'll have half-day office days, and those 2 days will be utilized to make appointments for the following week to set my week up. To get those appointments, I'll utilize some of the cold calls I did the week before. I'll utilize referrals from customers or from technicians, and then so that's where the bulk of my appointments would come from.
Gotta get that squirrel in there.
A successful day for me. A successful day for me would be 5 appointments, 3 appointments that are preset new customers, 2 additional appointments, either customer care calls or referral requests. I try to make at least 8 to 10 new contacts a day. So the new contacts either through the phone or cloverleafing. And the way that I schedule the new appointments is phone blocks. So we actually set up time, 2 half days a week to schedule making calls to get appointments in place.
A successful day for me isn't necessarily always about making a sale, even though those are really great to have, but it's more or less accomplishing everything that I have set for that day that's on my to-do list. Always want to have 2 brand new appointments every single day. I establish those typically a week in advance. Once I have those established, then I'm able to kind of map out or strategize the rest of my day. What I like to do is find local businesses within that vicinity, put them on my to-do list of specific business names that I want to stop into, anywhere from 10 to 15 for each of those 2 new accounts that I'm stopping in and have those set appointments with. Once I add those potential clients to my target list and then I cold call, I'll update my target list, kind of, the outcome. But my goal is just really to go in there, just to give them a brief introduction and hopefully set a time to come back and actually meet with them and dive into it a little further. I also like to follow up with 2 to 3 accounts that I've sold within the past 30 to 60 days, just to kind of see how we're doing, if they're happy, and then also ask them if they know of any surrounding businesses or if they know of anybody that could benefit from our services. Also want to do some clover leafing while I'm there. If we've resolved the issue for this current account that you've sold within the past 30 to 60 days, a lot of the times that some of the surrounding businesses may have some of those same challenges that business that you just helped out had. So that's a good way to kind of help develop your target list and help eventually get to what could be measured as a success as a sale. So that's my day.
All 3 of them are consistent producers.
So what's interesting is that they actually, between the 3 of them, they averaged the last 12 months between 39,000 and 41,000. So they are all very consistent what they do month in and month out. Doesn't matter what month it is. They are 3 very consistent salespeople. And you can see because they build up what to them is their successful day. And so what's interesting is a couple of the numbers are different when you see between the 3 of them, which is kind of what I was talking about as far as when they, you got to know your numbers in order to hit your goals. So when you look at like a Mike Cintron, when he's talking about doing 5 appointments a day and then 2 of the follow-ups or customer care appointments after that. And Jen was talking about the, hers is 3 new appointments a day and also with visiting the current customers. And what's also unique about all 3 of them is that they take the time every week and they block out time to pound the phones.
Absolutely. And the similarity between all 3 is that they're booking appointments for the following week during the current week. So they know, how their week is shaping up before they even get there. They know how tomorrow looks the day ahead. And that's fantastic. That's really having control of your day. And those 3 are exhibiting that perfectly. Well done.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, we're talking about building a successful day. And what to you is the most important thing to be able to have a successful day?
Great question. My conviction is that whether you've been with us for a month, or you've been with us 10 years, if you haven't put the time in to develop your target list, then you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. But you need to know who to call on. You need to know who's buying pest control before you can even hit the street. Otherwise, you're going to be going around in circles, on and on and on. Do you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you don't have people to call or build that target list, like you said, you don't know. You're kind of like a leaf in the wind. You're just kind of blowing out there aimlessly. You don't know where you're going to go. One other thing that's really interesting about the three of them, you notice that their successful day, it didn't have anything to do with getting a sale. It was about being able to create the right activity to make sure to put themselves in the best situation, and the sales are going to come.
They always do. They always do. And they're all, every one of them, Jennifer, Mike, and Jordan, they're all focused on moving the mark, right? The sale might not happen today, but you know what? That thank you card that they took the time to write and send through the mail is going to move them one step closer. And they're not selling small jobs. They're selling major accounts, and that's what's getting them to that, floating around that $40,000 a month mark. And that's just fantastic work.
So, as far as the target list, we have people that are watching that are been here a week, that have been here 10 plus years. So let's really dig into how to build a target list. And you can speak from experience from when you were an account manager, or what you see that, like Jordan, he's in your region, or how you talk with your folks about building a target list. How can you go about actually building that target list?
All right, so we've established that a sale doesn't happen the first time you talk to someone. It takes multiple touches, right? So the idea with building a target list is that very first touch is you simply calling that phone number to that prospective client just to find out the name of the individual who actually makes decisions for pest control, who actually signs the document, signs the agreement. So you've got to look at all the resources available to you to start to begin to construct that target list. And a target list is, as I said before, the single most important thing that you can have as a tool for development of your territory. All right? So the target list is going to include all the relevant SICs that buy pest control. It's going to include hospitality. It's going to include property management, both multifamily and commercial. It's going to include nursing, skilled care, assisted living, hospitals, retail, quick service restaurants, as well as white linen restaurants. It's going to include your government agencies. It's going to include national accounts and all of the sales cinema, sales blitz opportunities that we have, those opportunities where Orkin can be a vendor. It's a summary of all those opportunities within your geographic area. It's also including the first and last name of the decision maker, the phone number, the full address, including the zip. In my opinion, it needs to be on an Excel spreadsheet with different columns for each of those entries. And the reason is so it can be sorted. It can be sorted by zip code so that after you've booked an appointment the week before for that Tuesday, you know exactly in that neighboring area who you can call on and who the name of the individual making decisions for pest control is.
So when you're building your target list, what are the different ways of getting it? So one would be knocking on doors, going around, introducing yourself, getting cards.
Yeah.
So what would work for you as far as when you were door knocking? What did you say when you walked in?
Well, so that magic number from 2210 is 10 cold calls, right? You want to walk in, you want to be able to find out who that decision maker is, and you also want to present yourself to, perhaps now's not the right time to talk, but let's go ahead and set up a time next week so that I can come in, I can actually have a little bit more of your attention, and we can actually talk about how pest control impacts your business. You take all those 10 cards that you have, right, that every day you're collecting, take the time to take them back to your office, right, and start to catalog them into your target list. If you're not doing that, then you're going to wind up with redundant exercises. You're going to wind up going around and around in circles. And for the ultimate success of your business, right, make these touches one time and then follow back up and then request the appointment thereafter.
So let me do this. Let me throw this out to all the folks out there in TV land. On your device that you're using, what are some ways that you develop your target list, whether it's through the internet or how are let's share some ideas about what you do to be able to create that list. You know, one of the things that I loved about what Jordan talked about was when he has his 2 new appointments is that he does the research to be able to see what businesses are around there. So he kind of goes in knowing, you know, what's there.
Right.
And it's kind of makes it almost like a warm call because you're familiar, not like just walking out street like, oh, look at this place. You know, you kind of know, it gets you to know your territory. So I think that's really cool. So
And can I cut
Absolutely,
in? All right.
man.
So not only does he know what's in the neighboring area, but he also knows the name of the individual because he's done the research previously of who to ask for. So it's not as much of a cold call where he's saying, "Hi, I'm Jordan with Orkin. Who can I talk to about pest control?" He shows up saying, "Hey, I'm Jordan. I'm looking for Tim. Is Tim around?" You know, a gatekeeper perhaps is going to be a lot more hesitant to shoo you away if you know exactly who you're looking
right
for.
when you make it personal. So we have a few folks chiming in here. Jordan Foss up in Baltimore Commercial wrote Google Maps, using David Charvat in Buffalo, Business Journal, driving around Keith. Ben Hill, you guys might have heard of him before, through technicians, building relationship with technicians. It's a great way to do it. Social media is fantastic. I know a lot of people have a lot of success with LinkedIn, using Boss, probably, you know, like for the current customers, things like that. So being industry specific as far as what you know industries you're gonna target and go after.
I'm a big fan of the Business Journal. David Charvat, you know, he mentioned that. So on the East Coast, right, I know obviously we've got one for Baltimore, Philadelphia. I'm sure there's one for New York and probably Boston as well. Those business journals are so dense with leads. I've got our team looking at them. They come out once a week. They're so juicy. If you don't have the Business Journal come into your office, branch managers, you gotta order it. It's fantastic.
So talking about building the target list, how many people should be on there? What's your number, do you think, as far as a target list?
It's a good question. And it's a good question because do you want every single business on your target list, or do you want to define it to, like, do you want every Subway on your target list, or do you want the ownership entity that owns 5 on your target list, right? So that's going to take some additional research and investigation to figure that out. But if you're going to be taking the time to pick the phone up and to call this individual and to track them down, to send direct mail or whatever those, you know, sales activities are, I might want to be calling the decision maker that owns all 5 first, right? So make sure that's part of qualifying. So with a qualified target list, I think it's well within reason to have upwards of 750 to 1,000 opportunities on your target list.
Okay. What about the size of the business? You know, do you go after just the big fish, or how do you do with that? What kind of mix do you have?
That's a great question. So you kind of have a target list within a target list, right? You're going to have a major account list, which is probably, I'd say, $300 a month and up would be those major accounts. And you could probably have 300 of those, you know? So 450 normal size, you know, those types of accounts that you can go in and you can make an impact quickly. And then you've got, you know, a smaller percentage of the big fish. Because you've always got to be working on the big fish. You know, if you look at Jordan's numbers, Mike's numbers, or Jennifer's numbers, I'm sure that a portion of that $40,000 a month is made up from one nice sale.
Right. I would agree with that.
Right. So if you're not going after, if you don't know who they are, that's why you need to put the time in to create the target list.
All right. So we talked about the importance of a target list to be able to create those 2 new appointments or 3 new appointments or 4 new appointments, whatever your number is to hit your goal. Let's talk about a couple other ways to fill up your day. I personally believe that at Orkin there's so many different ways to be able to fill up your day to make sure that you're productive and you're hitting your goals. So one of the things, here's a little known fun fact. Back when I started at Orkin, I was a BMT on the commercial side. I was there for 9 months. And part of my training for 6 weeks, I had to actually hit the field and I had to sell. For me, it was a blessing because 1, I'm a sales guy, and 2, it took me away from doing all these heat treatments for Ben Hill down in Richmond, Virginia, because he sold a lot and I was a tech. my region manager that I had to do it.
I see Ben laughing on here.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. But anyway, so one of the things that I like to do, because I had a short time to be able to hit $20,000, that was the goal that they gave me that I had to hit. So it was going to current customers. I loved going to current customers because it's a friendly face. You know, they're happy with the service. You go in there, and I'd introduce myself. And how I would introduce myself is because I don't want to say that I was new, but I was new to them, and that's all they needed to know. So I would say, like, hi, I'm Tim Brady with Orkin. They just added Ellicott City to my territory. And I want to come by and introduce myself, say hi, see how everything's going.
Right.
And then say while I'm there, do a little inspection for them and kind of point out some things that they might need, from fly lights to Actizyme, you know, depending on what it is, for exterior spray service, that kind of stuff. And then I would ask them, like, who are the guys next door? Because a lot of the business owners, they know each other, you know, in the area. And then I would use them as a center of influence. And I'd walk into the next door when I was doing my clover leaf in, like, you know, Adam next door is tickled with our service. He's really happy with us. My technician's here every other week. You know, why aren't we doing business with each other?
Awesome.
I would kind of be that up front with them, because they kind of laugh a little bit, like, well, I don't know, you guys never stopped by, or whatever it was. But my whole key was I had to make sure I was getting in front of the people. And once I'd be in front of the people, I mean, it just worked out for me. But so current customers is a great thing to do. You should be going to see them a couple times a day, because it's a friendly face. You can get referrals off of it, and it's easy to clover leaf around them. So what are a couple other things as far as that we can do?
I like the center of influence thing, and that was another commonality between the three that we watched before. It also kind of gives you an advantage of a little bit of leverage as well. I mean, it really does put you in a better light. You're laughing at something over there.
I'm laughing at Ben Hill just wrote that I did great work when I was doing his heat treatments. That's actually not true. I melted a lot of TVs and VCRs. we were experimenting. Sorry about that.
So Goodwills, you asked, you know, what are the other activities, right? I think it's really important for your 60-day follow-ups and even beyond 60 days, so that you can also bolster that center of influence with current clients by showing your face, coming back in, asking referrals, and making sure that we're meeting their service expectations, making sure that, you know, we're actually delivering the quality of service that they signed up for. Activity would be adding to your target list daily. You know, that's something that's got to be done. You could look at mailers. You could perhaps look at time spent doing email mailers as well. The return rate isn't as great on them as I think picking up the phone, but it's all about touches.
You know, another thing that I don't think we fully take advantage of is national accounts. So
True.
When you look at something as simple as the national agreement that we have with say Subway, man, there are Subways in almost every corner. You know, I'd be stopping into one of those almost every day just to go in there and kind of just, you know, we had this national agreement with you, and we're just kind of curious why you're not taking advantage of the pricing.
It's that easy.
It's just that easy, and you get a great opportunity to be able to add on to like an Actizyme and fly lights, things like that, to the service. Subways are always in the strip mall, so once you sell them, then you start cloverleafing around and start building up your territory like that. So another thing that I found that I'm not sure if we really take advantage of, but there's this thing called the customer concerns list. And a customer concerns list, what it is so you have a customer that they have a monthly service or an every other week service. When they call back in because they have an issue, it's part of our agreement, that's part of our guarantee that we're going to go back out there and take care of it within 24 hours. We'll be back out there. So it's the time of year, I'm laughing because I want to say it's spring, but eventually all the snow is going to melt. But with all that moisture, it's going to bring a lot of like ant pressures, things like that. So when you get this customer concerns list, and it's something you can get right from the front office, it lists every customer and the reason that they called. What I'd be going after is like ants to go out there when the technician's going out there to offer an exterior spray service, or rodents to go out there and offer some exclusion, some more bait stations, things like that. And what I would do, this is just me, but I would build my relationship with my technician and do a split sale with them, because the technicians are required to make a couple sales a month too. But if you go out there with them and you sell an exterior spray and do like a 75-25 split, or however whatever you want to do, the technician will start looking for this kind of stuff and call you. You know, hey, I'm running into this situation again. Can you come out here? Can you help me with this? And it's a great way to build a relationship with technicians.
Absolutely, they're the key. Another list that we kind of just took a look at, since we've got this Just Ask campaign, We're taking the Form 19 or the PC on service list and having our technicians in our region go through that list of services yet to be performed in the month and notating, who could potentially utilize mosquito or tick service. The idea is that they then share that with the account manager in that overlaps their route, and then they team sail from there on. So it's great because the account manager will write up the agreement, and then since the service has yet to be performed, right, the technician can then follow up on it. So they're getting touched a couple times, and the weather's going to change finally after the end of this week, so things are going to be popping.
Hopefully, that's what they say. The technicians, I think that's another thing we talked about with the customer concerns list, building a relationship with technicians. Mm-hmm. If you get a few technicians in your corner as far as build that relationship with them, one, it makes it a lot easier to get your work done if you need a few things started by the end of the month.
Oh, yeah.
But they can really, really be an ace in the hole as far as giving you places to go. If you have a situation where your day falls apart and not really sure, don't have anywhere to go, and you call your technician up to find out where they're going, different starts, things like different things that they're seeing, even get to the point where, hey man, I was over at XYZ today, and there's a new building being built next door. Everybody want to go check it out.
Yeah.
You start getting that stuff. And one of the ways to build that relationship is to making sure that you guys are in the service meetings with the technicians.
Yes.
And when you're in the service meetings, for the love of all things good, participate. Don't just sit in the back on your phone pretending you're busy or you're above them. But because one, if you pay attention, you might learn some stuff because there's always some really good service tips in there. And two, it shows you're part of the team and that you're there. Maybe bring some donuts or something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Just whatever.
Or maybe if it's hot out, bring them a Gatorade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A cup of coffee in the morning. Show up early. Try to be the first person in the office. Technicians notice that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. So we're getting close to 8 o'clock now. Kind of want to wrap this up a little bit, because I know you guys have a busy day ahead of you. And like I said, when we started this thing, I strongly, strongly encourage you that when we go off air, have a conversation. We went over a bunch of different things of how to build a target list, the importance of a target list. What are some ways that you haven't been doing that kind of open your eyes? You know what? I'm gonna give that a shot. And you can't give something a shot once. You gotta do it for like a month. They always say 3 weeks creates a habit, but you gotta kind of give it a shot. Keep at it, and you'll get there. So the other thing that I would really encourage you to do is on your region group me, post a couple things that you got that you're gonna do different, because maybe you heard something that somebody else didn't hear. Or maybe as a reminder, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, building a relationship with a technician, or that, what was that forum we talked about? Oh, that customer concerns list thing. Maybe some people want to give that a shot. But remember, the important thing is have a target list, make sure you fill up your day, make sure you know the numbers that are going to get you to your goal, whether it's if 2-2-10 works for you, or if you've got to do 5 and 2 and 10, whatever it is, know your numbers to hit your goals. Adam?
Canceled account list is a great list to add to help build your target list. We didn't mention that, so I wanted to throw that out. BB no PC, TC no PC. All those lists can be pulled right down from Boss. So take those out, sort them by zip, pop them into your target list, and away you go. I really like what Linda Boschman said here. She noted that she's got a whale and minnow list. It's kind of basically the same thing as what I was talking about, but then she took it one step further and she, acknowledged that you've got a slower decision-making process for the whales, right, and a faster one for the minnows, and that's all that funnel concept. That's all making sure you've got the right size, a mix going into your funnel so that you've got a continual churn of opportunities being sold and closed. So that's fantastic that you're doing that up there, Linda.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. So with that being said, go out, have a great day, have a better tomorrow, and have fun.